The balloon I tied to the gym door handle is still there when I walk back inside, purple and silver. Evan's favorite colors this year. Last month it was green. Before that, red. He changes his mind every few weeks and I've learned to just go with it. I check my phone again. Nothing. The other parents are starting to arrive. I can see them through the glass doors. Moms with cameras already out. Dads carrying flower bouquets that cost more than my grocery budget for the week. They're laughing, holding coffee cups, wearing the kind of easy smiles that come from not having spent the last 3 days baking a cake from scratch and re-icing it twice because the first layer slid off. Evan is inside with his class. The kindergarten graduation ceremony starts in 20 minutes. I sent the address 2 weeks ago. I sent it again last Sunday. My brother texted back, "We'll be there, wouldn't miss it." My mother said, "Of course, baby. Of course we're coming." My sister didn't respond at all, but that's been her thing lately, so I didn't push. I find a seat in the 3rd row, close enough to see his face when he walks across the little stage, far enough back that there's room for 4 more people beside me. I put my cardigan on the seats. I put my tote bag on another one. I keep my eyes on the door. His teacher, Mrs. Aldridge, had sent home a note 2 weeks before the ceremony explaining that each child would receive a small diploma and recite one line about what they wanted to be when they grew up. Evan had practiced his every night at dinner. He wanted to be a marine biologist. He couldn't pronounce it yet. It came out marine biologist, but he said it with such complete confidence that I had to turn away so he wouldn't see me laughing. I had told everyone about the line. I had told my mother, my brother Daniel, my sister Cora. I had said, "You have to hear him say it. You're going to die." My mother had laughed. "I can't wait," she said. Daniel had said, "That kid is something else." So I believed them. That's the part I keep coming back to. I believed them, and I set up the seats, and I saved the spots, and I kept looking at the door. The ceremony starts. The chairs beside me are still empty. Mrs. Aldridge leads the children in single file, and I see Evan immediately. He's the one with the slightly crooked graduation cap and the enormous grin. He spots me in the 3rd row and waves with his whole arm. The way little kids wave, unselfconsciously without caring who sees. I wave back the same way. He looks to the empty seats beside me. Just for a second. Just for a second. Just a flicker. Then he looks back at the stage and keeps walking. And I tell myself he didn't notice, and I know that's not true. And I look down at my phone one more time. My brother has posted a photo on Instagram. It's from a brunch place 40 minutes from here. He's at a table with Cora and 2 of their friends, mimosas in hand, eggs Benedict on the plates. The caption says, "Sunday Fun Day. Hint dates on the plates." The caption says, "Sunday Fun Day." 11 minutes ago, Evan was walking down the aisle in his little cap and gown, looking for the faces that were supposed to be there. I put my phone in my bag. I watch my son recite his line. "When I grow up, I want to be a marine biologist." The room laughs warmly, the way rooms laugh at things that are genuinely charming. I clap harder than anyone. My vision goes a little blurry and I blink it clear because I am not going to cry. Not right now. Not here. He gets his diploma. He holds it up like a trophy. He looks right at me. I give him 2 thumbs up. That's enough. It has to be enough. After the ceremony, there are cookies and lemonade in the hallway, the other families cluster in groups, grandparents pulling children into hugs, siblings chasing each other between the adults' legs. I stand with Evan and we eat our cookies and his friend Thomas comes over and they immediately start talking about something that happened on the playground involving a stick and a puddle, and I listen to them and feel the afternoon settle into something quieter. "Mom," Evan says at one point, mouth still full of cookie, "did Uncle Daniel see me say my line?" I crouch down to his level. "Not today, buddy," I say, "but I recorded it. You can show him the video." He thinks about this, nods, goes back to talking to Thomas about the puddle. Kids are more resilient than we give them credit for. Or maybe they just trust us to fill in the gaps. I'm not sure which one is more heartbreaking. I don't call my mother that night. I don't text Daniel. I put Evan to bed. read him 2 chapters of his book about ocean animals, his current obsession, and sit at the kitchen table with a cup of tea that goes cold before I drink half of it. I'm not angry yet. That comes later. Right now, I'm just tired. The kind of tired that isn't about sleep. I've been the one who shows up. That has always been my role in this family. When my mother's car broke down 3 years ago, I drove 2 hours to get her and paid half the repair bill. When Daniel lost his job, I let him stay in my spare room for 4 months, rent-free, and I bought most of the groceries. When Cora had her surgery, I took a week off work, unpaid, to help with her kids while she recovered. I don't say this to make myself sound like a saint. I say it because it's the context. It's the background against which everything that happened next has to be understood. I'm a pediatric dental assistant. I make decent money for what it is. But I'm a single mother in a 1-bedroom apartment that I converted the living room into a 2nd bedroom for Evan, and I have $4,000 in a savings account that I have been building for 2 years because I want to take Evan to see the ocean before he turns 8. He's never seen it. He wants to see it more than almost anything. That savings account matters. I want you to remember that. 3 days after the graduation, my mother calls. I answer because I always answer. Old habit. "I'm so sorry we missed it," she says, before I can say hello. "Something came up. You know how it is." I don't say anything for a moment. I'm standing at the kitchen counter, still in my scrubs, and I'm looking at the little paper diploma that Evan insisted on taping to the refrigerator. "He looked for you," I say. "When he walked in, he looked at the seats." "Oh, honey," her voice goes soft, "tell him Grandma is going to make it up to him." "He's 6, Mom. He doesn't understand being made up to. He just knows you weren't there." There's a pause. Then her voice shifts. That particular shift I have known my whole life, the one that means the conversation is about to become about something else. "I actually called because I wanted to talk to you about something. Daniel mentioned that you have some money saved up." I set down the glass I was holding. "He did. We're a little short this month. Your grandmother's birthday is coming up and we want to do something nice. Rent out the back room at Caruso's, get the whole family together. You know she won't be around forever and..." "How much?" She pauses. $2,000. Maybe a little more. I hear the number and I feel something go very still inside me. $2,000. Half of Evan's ocean trip, 2 years of scraping and packing lunches and skipping the brand name things at the grocery store. "Mom," I say slowly, "you didn't come to Evan's graduation. 3 days ago. You were at brunch with Daniel and Cora. I saw the photos." Silence. "That was..." she starts. "I'm not going to give you $2,000, I say. I love you, but no. I expect her to be upset. I expect some version of after everything I've done for you, or family helps family. I have been on the receiving end of those speeches my whole life, and I have a whole catalog of them stored somewhere in the back of my mind. What I don't expect is Daniel showing up at my apartment 2 days later. He doesn't knock gently. He knocks the way people knock when they want you to know they're serious. I open the door with the chain still on. "We need to talk," he says. "Evan's doing homework," I say. "This isn't a good time." "It'll only take a minute." I look at him through the gap. My older brother, 41 years old. He still has the Instagram photo on his account, Sunday Funday, and I checked this morning and it has 47 likes. "Whatever you need to say," I tell him, "you can say it from there." He says it. It takes more than a minute. The general content is, the family has always supported me. I wouldn't have gotten through the hard years without them. $2,000 is not a lot of money when you consider everything, and if I won't contribute then I'm choosing money over family. I let him finish. "Daniel," I say, "I watched your Instagram story while Evan was walking across the stage to get his diploma. You were eating eggs Benedict." He opens his mouth. Closes it. "He asked me afterward if he saw his line," I say. "I told him I'd recorded it so he could show you. He said okay, and went back to talking about a puddle." Something moves across my brother's face. I can't tell if it's guilt or just discomfort. With Daniel, those have always looked similar. "That's not," he starts. "I'm not giving the money," I say. "Have a good night." I close the door. I stand there for a second with my hand still on the knob, And then Evan calls from the other room. Mom, I don't understand number 4. And I go help him with his worksheet, and that's that. Or I think that's that. The call comes from a number I don't recognize, 2 evenings later. It's a police non-emergency line. An officer, very polite, explains that a complaint has been filed, something about a verbal altercation and withheld property. He asks if I'd be willing to speak with him. I tell him I'd be happy to. I explain what happened. My brother came to my door. I spoke to him briefly through the chain. I closed the door. There was no altercation. There is no withheld property. He is not on my lease. He does not have a key. The officer thanks me. He sounds a little tired. Is there anything else? I ask. No, ma'am, he says. Have a good night. After I hang up, I sit for a long time at the kitchen table. My hands are very steady. I notice this because I expect them not to be, but they are. My family called the police on me because I said no, not because I threatened anyone, not because I did anything wrong. Because I said no, I will not give you $2,000, and that was apparently so far outside the bounds of what they expected from me that it required a police response. I think about all the years I said yes. The car repair. The spare room. The unpaid week off for Cora's surgery. I think about how none of those things ever came with a thank you that felt like it cost anything. How they were just folded into the category of things I did, expected, unremarkable. I think about Evan looking at the empty seats, and I feel something shift, not dramatically, not like a movie moment, just a quiet internal rearrangement, like furniture being moved to where it actually belongs. I block Daniel's number that night. I block Cora's. I think for a long time about my mother, and then I block hers too. And then I sit with that for a while because she is my mother and it is not a small thing, and I let myself feel how not small it is. Then I get up, wash my face, and go check on Evan. He's asleep with his ocean animals book open on his chest. I take the book gently, mark the page, set it on his nightstand. On the cover there's a drawing of a humpback whale. He looks so peaceful. I go back to the kitchen. I open my savings account. The number sits there, $4,127. Still enough. Still intact. I close the app. I make tea. This time I actually drink it. There's a woman at Evan's school. Her son Tomas is in his class. The one from the graduation hallway. The one who was there for the puddle incident. Her name is Sylvia, and we've been doing the slow motion thing that school parents do where you make small talk at pickup for months before you actually become friends. 2 weeks after everything, she invites us to a cookout at her house. Her backyard has a trampoline and a vegetable garden and a dog named Peanut, who is very old and sleeps through everything. Evan and Tomas run laps around the yard for approximately 45 minutes before collapsing dramatically on the grass. Sylvia and I sit in the folding chairs, and she hands me a lemonade and asks how I'm doing. And I tell her a version of the truth. Condensed. Enough to explain the look I apparently have on my face. She's quiet for a moment. My dad's side is like that, she says finally. Took me until I was 34 to stop answering every call. How was 35? She smiles. Quieter. Better. Evan shouts something from across the yard. Peanut lifts his head, decides it's not worth investigating, goes back to sleep. The afternoon light is that particular gold that happens in early June, warm and unhurried, the kind that makes everything look a little more manageable than it is. He's a great kid, Sylvia says. He wants to be a marine biologist, I say. Oh, I know. Tomas told me. Apparently he also wants to discover a new species and name it after his mom. I look over at my son. He's lying on his back in the grass, pointing at clouds, explaining something to Tomas with great seriousness. The feeling that moves through me is not simple. It's not just pride or love or relief. It's something bigger and harder to name, the feeling of understanding that you have built something real, that despite everything, despite the empty seats and the phone calls and the Sunday brunches while your child walked across a small stage and looked for familiar faces, you have built something that holds. I watch him point at a cloud. Whatever it is, it's enough. It is more than enough. A few weeks later, Cora texts from a number I don't have blocked, a worked cell, I think. The text says only, "Mom's not doing well." Thought you should know. I stare at it for a long time. Then I type back, "Thank you for telling me. I hope she feels better soon." I don't ask for more information. I don't call. I put the phone down and I take Evan to the library, because Thursday afternoons we always go to the library, and he has a hold on a book about deep-sea creatures that just came in. He's the one who remembers it's Thursday. He comes to find me with his shoes already on. "Library day," he announces. "Library day," I confirm. He takes my hand as we walk out the door, the way he still does sometimes, unselfconsciously, without thinking about it, just because I'm there and it's natural. Some people earn the right to be your family. Some people are just assigned to the role and spend their whole lives assuming the assignment is enough. Evan swings our joined hands as we walk down the front steps. The assignment was never enough. But this is. The ocean trip is booked for August, 7 days. A rental cottage, 20 minutes from the beach, the kind with a porch and an outdoor shower. I found it on a travel site and the review said things like perfect for small families, and kids loved the tide pools and I read every single one. Evan doesn't know yet. I'm going to tell him on a random Wednesday, not connected to anything, no birthday, no holiday, no milestone. Just a Wednesday. Because good things shouldn't always have to be earned by an occasion. Sometimes you just get them because you get them. I've already thought about how I'll do it. I'll print out a photo of the ocean and put it under his cereal bowl at breakfast. And when he licks the bowl and finds it, I'll say, "We're going. You and me." He's going to lose his mind. I've already decided I'm going to take the whole week off work. Unpaid if I have to. For the first time in a long time, I'm taking time off for the right person. Mrs. Aldridge sends home a note at the end of the school year. It's a general note to all the kindergarten parents about the summer and first grade and how wonderful the year has been. At the bottom, she's written a personal note in blue pen. Evan is one of those students you don't forget. He asks the best questions and he is so kind to the other children. You should be very proud. G. Aldridge. I fold the note carefully and put it in the box on my closet shelf where I keep things I want to save. His first drawing. A photo from his second birthday. The paper diploma from the graduation, which I gently removed from the refrigerator once he'd moved on to decorating the fridge with ocean animal stickers instead. The box is getting full. I put the lid back on and stand in my closet for a second, just breathing. We are fine. We are better than fine. The empty seats in the third row were real and they mattered, and I'm not going to pretend they didn't. The weight of all of it. The Sunday brunch photo, the police call, the $2,000 I was supposed to just hand over, that's real too. I carry it. I think I'll carry some version of it for a long time. But there's also this. A 6-year-old boy who wants to be a marine biologist who will soon stand at the edge of the ocean for the first time in his life and probably just completely fall apart with joy. There's the note from his teacher. There's Sylvia's backyard and lemonade in June and peanuts sleeping through everything. There's a Wednesday morning coming where I'll put a picture under a cereal bowl. That's what I chose when I said no. I'd say no again. I've thought a lot about the word family since all of this happened, what it actually means versus what we're told it means. We grow up hearing that family is unconditional, that blood is permanent, loyal by nature, owed a kind of grace that other relationships aren't. And for a long time I believed that. I operated my whole life inside that belief. I answered every call. I drove the 2 hours. I gave up the spare room. I took the unpaid week. I said yes so many times that the people around me stopped hearing it as a choice. It became just a given, a law of nature like gravity. Of course she'll help. She always does. The problem with always is that it teaches people the wrong thing about you. What I understand now is that I wasn't being generous all those years. Or not only generous, I was also being afraid. Afraid that if I said no, I would lose them. Afraid that the love was conditional in the other direction too. That it only held as long as I kept paying into it. So I kept paying. I called it family loyalty. It took my brother posting brunch photos while Evan walked across a stage to make me see it clearly for what it actually was. That moment, Evan looking at the empty seats, just for a second, just that flicker. That was the moment something changed in me. Not because it was dramatic, because it was so small. He looked, he didn't find what he was looking for. And then he kept going. He adapted. He's 6 years old and he adapted in about half a second. and then he said his line about being a marine biologist, and the whole room laughed, and he held up his diploma like a trophy. He didn't fall apart. But I saw what it cost him, that small adjustment, and I decided I was done paying for things that cost him anything at all. Here's what I've come to believe about cause and effect just from living it. The way you respond to being taken for granted teaches people whether or not they can keep doing it. Every time I said yes when I meant no, I was telling my family that the behavior was acceptable, that there were no real consequences, that I would absorb whatever they needed and keep showing up anyway. I taught them over years that I was the kind of person who could be counted on to pay and then be overlooked and then pay again. Saying no, a real no, a quiet and final no. That was the first honest thing I'd said to them in a long time. The police call didn't scare me the way I think they expected it to. What it did was clarify something. It showed me exactly how much my compliance had been worse to them, and exactly how little I was worth beyond it. You don't call a non-emergency line on someone you love. You call it on someone you're trying to manage. I am not manageable anymore. That's the thing I want Evan to understand someday, when he's old enough. Not the drama of it, not the $0 or a one transfer or the door chain or any of that. Just the simple fact underneath it all, you are allowed to decide what you will and won't absorb. That decision is not cruelty. It is not selfishness. It is the most basic form of self-respect. And self-respect is something you have to practice, like anything else worth having. He's going to see the ocean in August. He doesn't know yet. And when he stands at the edge of it for the first time, this kid who can't yet pronounce marine biologist but says it with complete authority anyway, I want him to already know, somewhere in his bones, that good things don't require you to shrink yourself to deserve them. I'm still learning that myself, but I'm learning it.